There is a renewed and serious effort to bring an American wrongfully jailed in Russia back home to the States. In 2018, American and former Marine Paul Whelan was arrested in Moscow accused of espionage. He was sentenced to 16 years in prison in 2020. Now, Secretary of State Antony Blinken says he has a serious proposal for Russia, and it isn't one that the Kremlin has not heard before. Joining us this morning to talk more about the possibility of Paul coming home is Paul's brother, David Whelan. David, as always, I enjoy our conversations. Thank you for being with us. You say you are cautiously optimistic at this latest proposal. Can you share any specifics that you know of?
I don't really know any. I know that after Ms. Greiner was released in December, the White House, the State Department staff, the national security staff got together the very next day and started working on how to bring Paul home. New plans, new ideas appear to have been raised, and perhaps that's part of what this solution is. I think at the end of the day, we are all waiting for the Kremlin to respond and to act.
David, I was scanning some articles today, and in an interview in February, your sister Elizabeth said that she was pretty fired up, and she said none of the lawmakers who were outspoken when Brittany Griner was released, and there were calls as to why your brother Paul wasn't included in that. She said none of those lawmakers have reached out to your family, adding that they're using Paul's name to get clicks and likes, not actually doing anything for them. Do you share that frustration that the call has grown quieter since Brittany's released for your brother?
I'm not so sure I'm worried about the call. I think there's an improper use of wrongful detention as a political weapon in Congress. At least we saw that in December. So I think if people don't want to actually get involved, and if you want to see who is involved, you can go to congress.gov and look at who signed on the House resolutions and the Senate resolutions to call for Paul's freedom. So the people who act are the ones who are important to us, and the people who want to use Paul's case as political news is not helpful.
How often do you and your family hear from Paul?
Fortunately, he's able to speak to our parents almost every day. He had his birthday on Sunday and was able to tell our parents that he and about 20 other prisoners had a potluck. They shared the meager food that they were able to bring in from outside the prison and have a bit of a special day.
Oh, I think about your parents a lot because I know as they get older, he has 12 years left on his sentence. How difficult is that for them, the waiting?
I think it's really hard because you don't know what's going to happen in your own future. And you do realize, obviously, that you are probably coming towards the end of your own life. And so every day they're tethered to that phone, waiting for Paul's call, hoping that he is still able to make that call. That's a good sign. But also, they can't really live their lives. They can't, take a day off and just enjoy spring as it comes, or enjoy a quiet day. They have to always be ready to intercede on Paul's behalf and to keep his spirits up so that he survives.
And how are his spirits, his health, his well-being?
I think they're as good as you can expect. He's had a little bit of medical care, some dental care, so he's getting looked after. But we're obviously concerned. The conditions inside the prison aren't great. They've turned off the heat now in the barracks, even though it's still quite cold in Mordovia. The food has gotten thinner, so we don't really know what his overall health and wellness is like, and we won't know until the next time one of the embassies is able to go and visit him.
As I said earlier, Russia accuses your brother of being a spy. He was detained and arrested in 2018. The State Department says he is being wrongfully held. What was he doing there in 2018?
Well, he's a kind person, and he had gone to help a fellow Marine. They had planned to be at a wedding. The other Marine was getting married, and Paul was going to help the wedding party get around the city. He had been to Moscow a few times before and had Russian friends that he also met up with while he was there. And unfortunately, one of those friends betrayed him to the security services.
Those in the Kremlin, David, and also Vladimir Putin will want something in exchange for your brother, and it may be something big. The trade for Brittany Griner included an international arms dealer, Victor Bout, the merchant of death. He's now back in Russia. Are you aware of anyone? Is there a list floating around of possible swaps for your brother that would rise to the level that would raise your optimism?
Well, it's hard to know what the Kremlin wants. Obviously, they are acting in self-interest. From the very first day that Paul was arrested, we knew it was about extortion of something from the U.S. government by the Kremlin. They have mentioned over the years many people who are in U.S. custody. They've mentioned that they would like their diplomatic properties back that were lost when the Obama administration blocked them from using them. So there are a number of the things that the Kremlin has mentioned over the years that they would like, and eventually some mixture or some new things. There are always Russian criminals being extradited and tried and convicted in U.S. courts. That calculus will change on a regular basis.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.